Next up, I'd like to invite Tara Flanagan from Limerick City and County Council to talk about Raheen Quinns Crossing for the Russell Road projects.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much, Colin. So like all our schemes, they're governed by the Limerick Shannon Metropolitan Area Transport Strategy 2040. And that's just an outline of all the schemes that we're set to deliver under that strategy. The red are primary and the yellow are secondary cycle routes. So we're set to deliver 41 kilometres of primary and 45 of secondary cycle network, and we're looking for an increase in 10 to 15% in cycle mode share and 33 in walking, which are big figures, but over the longer term we hope to achieve those. Also, as part of we have a big office here and it's very well staffed, and our behavioural scientist has developed an active travel interactive map, which anyone can access. The details are there. There's a QR code you can log on, and that gives live feedback on the status of our schemes, all our schemes, what status they're at, whether it's options, preliminary, planning, whatever, it's all there and publicly available. So I'll talk about two schemes in particular. The first one is the For the Russell Road Phase 1 active travel scheme. And I have a video to share with you, which will show it in sunny Limerick on a good day. And the scheme has been completed at this stage. Yeah, so that's the video, which tells a thousand words. I suppose really it's very demonstrate about how the scheme ended up. So yeah, just move on now to the next slide. Sorry, just having a problem exiting the video now. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so for the Russell Road scheme itself, so it's 1 kilometre in length and one-way segregated cycle facility on each side of the road. You'll see it in context there, and around on that's the secondary link, the Father Russell Road, and round is Quinns Cross adjacent to it, which is the primary link. Back when we were at option stage and preliminary design stage for this, we were governed by the National Cycle Manual. The guidance graph gave us our what type of facility to use, which was the segregated one-way cycle lane, and the width calculator there was very important. We were restrained. It was one of our primary constraints was the fact that we had an existing 7.5 metre carriageway only, and trying to fit segregated cycle lanes into that with the 1.8 metre footpath was quite challenging. We also incorporated bus connect details because we had two inline bus stops to accommodate and one offline bus stop as well. So those details had to be incorporated as well. Throughout the length of the scheme, we used tight corner radii as a traffic calming measure, which was very effective. Okay, so we went for planning for the scheme then in May of 2022. There was 41 submissions, which isn't a huge amount compared to the level of interaction we get now on later schemes. The main issues that were raised as part of the Part 8 were the removal of trees. We had to take away a number, but we replaced it with twice or three times the number we took away. Narrowing of the carriageway caused concern. Some people wanted the scheme progressed further in this contract, and there's also suggestions of a link through Russell Court to the main line on St. Nessans Road. And a lot of supportive submissions were received at that time for this particular scheme. So it went to council September 22, was passed without much controversy, and we went back then and started with MRG, continued with their detailed design for phase 5 of the PAGS guidance. So that's just a couple of snips really of the length, the layout of the scheme. As you can see there's a roundabout at the start, race field. That was probably the most challenging to construct and pave. And other than that, you've got the two cycle lanes either side of the road, allowance, drop curbs for driveways, and pedestrian priority throughout as well, the length of the scheme. Okay, so this is our typical cross section. As I said, the challenge was 7.5 metre, always a narrow enough road, and we brought it down to 6, and the construction of that was difficult enough in terms of space. Here's our details of the curbs we used, the principal curbing between carriageway and cycle lane, and also between cycle lane and footpath. So they're the curbs we opted for. They were in situ slip form curbs. So as discussed earlier, benefits and constraints with that. So detailed design was complete, and we went to tender in the usual form, open tender on e-tenders with the PwC F5 as the form of contract. We had 6 compliant tenders, and P&D Leiden were the successful contractor. They started on site in October 23, and substantial completion was in October 24. In fairness, they were largely complete by the end of June, but the traffic lights hadn't been commissioned, and they weren't commissioned until October, and that's why I suppose we didn't issue the cert until October. So we had tendered works at 3.1. It has overran, all right. There was a number of variations. I'll talk first before the variations. I'll just talk about tools we used in the construction phase. Our REs used a very, very useful tool called FieldWire, which is a phone app basically for recording activity on site. As you can see, very descriptive, capable of recording a lot of detail. The construction drawings could be uploaded onto it. So here's a record of drainage works that went on a particular day at a particular time. As you can see, the photos are of the excavation, the placing of the pipe, and in the top right-hand corner is an extract from the construction drawing. So very much real-time recording of everything that went on. Same with footpaths and curbing. We had that real-time record to refer to for claims, both contractual claims and public liability claims. So a very effective tool. Construction, the biggest challenge without a doubt was traffic management. Initially, contractor had planned to go from east to west and construct over the full carriageway with stop-go in place. On considering that in closer detail, we decided, to optimise two-way traffic for as long as we could, because there's schools either end of the Father Russell Road. So that resulted in an instruction to the contractor. And basically what happened then was he started on the south side of the road, constructed from the verge outwards, did his services, did his footpath curb, then paved the carriageway. So all of that time he had a wide width of road to use, including for the slip form curbing, as Joe mentioned earlier. It needs about 3.5 metres, but with this programme we were able to maintain the two-way for much longer periods of the contract, and that helped with public acceptance, because there was a lot of concern from the public and a bit of negativity about one-way traffic. Other variations, other change orders. At Racefield Roundabout, we had initially brought the carriageway, the cycle track through the corners, and had the cyclists cross then at the crossings here, crossings identified in each arm. But with the new CDM, we adjusted it because it allowed for this shared area detail in the new cycle design manual. So we incorporated that as a change order as well. And we also constructed a quiet way. The scheme itself, there's a phase 2 to the scheme, which would bring it up to St. Paul's roundabout. And in the interim, we did a quiet way through an existing estate, which just consisted of signage and road markings on the estate road. And then we upgraded this path to bring us out onto the R526 to a shared cycle and pedestrian space. So that's the completed scheme. You see it looks very well on the sunny day. Loads of wildflower planting, wildflower meadow planting as well, which is very well received and is actually very, very nice, particularly in springtime and early summer. The adjacent scheme that was carried out, Quinns Cross, the R510, they had bigger challenges in terms of poor existing pavement structure, and which resulted in increased inlay requirements. P&D Lydens, the contractor on Father Russell Road, also won this contract, so there was continuity, which was good. One major difference between Father Russell and this scheme was that they incorporated a safe routes to school element to it. St. Nesson School is right here, and there was a lot of work done to enhance their entrance and provide parking and accessibility for school children. And in fact, the Stage 3 road safety auditor, when he was carrying out his audit, remarked on the number of kids using the pedestrian and cycle facilities that were constructed, which is very encouraging to hear. That's just another construction challenge. Some of the works had to take place at night. Same on Father Russell Road, the roundabout was paved at night, so obviously that came at an additional cost as well. And finally, that's some pictures of it was completed in Q2 of this year. So now we have two schemes back to back, if you like. That's the secondary one here, the Father Russell Road one, and here we have Quinns Cross. And as Joe mentioned earlier, the important aspect now is to try and conclude the linkages. So we have two up and coming schemes. This one is St. Paul's to Ballykeefe, which we hope to have on site early 26. And then there's a further one that'll bring a primary cycle route all the way into city centre on South Circular Road. And that's me. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Tara. That's great.